Welcome back to another episode in my 31 Animals in 31 Days series. We have just finished painting this elephant here beside me. If you want to see how this was created, check out the video in the cards above. And today we are going to be working on the popular voted fox. So we have a fox. I've already done the background off camera because I did 4 backgrounds in a day to catch up. But we have a fox portrait we're gonna paint and we're gonna go get started to it. So if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe, like, all of the YouTube algorithm things, and I really appreciate it. So let's get to it. So this fox was very, very fun to paint because with really fluffy fur, you can be really free with your brush strokes. And especially after something so technical that we just did, like the iguana, it's really nice to be able to move the paintbrush in a very free way. So I really enjoyed it. So right now we're just blocking in the lovely white and orange colors. And I really wanted to create something interesting with the background here. The actual background of the photo is green because it was in a grassy field, but I really wanted to play with the idea of complementary colors between orange and red. And typically there's kind of a clashing effect that you get with bright orange and bright red. So we've kind of toned it down with some blue and making a bit of a burgundy fade in the background. And I think it actually works really well with the kind of soft orange in the fox, and it kind of makes the fox look brighter in color because the background is so less saturated. But anyway, this stage is familiar from all my work. I basically just block in the colors really quickly. I'm still putting the fur in the right direction and length as it's going to be in. So you can see the strokes around its face are a lot shorter, and the strokes around its body as we get off the canvas are a lot longer and fluffier. And when I'm doing these brush strokes, I'm trying to pay attention to the direction. So all of the lines aren't in the same direction. It's kind of a mix of swishing left and swishing right to try and help build up those fur layers from the very beginning of your painting. For all this fur, I'm also using a filbert brush. I love filbert brushes. They're one of my favorite paintbrushes to use, and probably 95% of this painting is done with just this one number 10 filbert paintbrush. So you can see, especially on the chest, the fur kind of like starts and then curves to the left in a kind of swish pattern. And I wanted to create some inconsistency with that. So I've rotated layers between this kind of dark gray to white. So I make those individual kind of fur patterns really stand out. And when I'm adding the fur on its chest, you really want to make that the fluffiest part of the animal. Generally, like if you have a dog or a cat, it's the softest kind of fur to touch and interact with. So you really want to get that sense of volume in it when it's swishing around, and you want to build in those layers of contrast from the very beginning when you're just blocking in, rotating between white and gray fur to help keep your fur strokes really standing out. Okay, and now we're on to the eyes. I really wanted the eyes to pop, so I decided to paint them entirely white and go from there. And I basically got the colors I wanted in there first, and then I went back over top of the colors and I added all these really fine lines into the eye. And I did some swirls of the color over top to try and get that inconsistent texture. You can see me again here going over and adding the lines again. And I'm using yellow and white to kind of get the lines in a particular highlight that we wanted to do. And in the photo, it has a really beautiful reflection in the fox's eye that I wanted to make sure we still captured in this one. And it just adds the natural light and stuff. So I used blue and white and kind of made a soft blending across it. And then I've added the dot sparkles on top of that. The fox has a really dark nose, so I'm trying to actually just make up the highlights on it to give it a bit more texture with the bumps. And especially the fur around the eye is so important to try and get that contrast so that it helps draw the eye in. And the nose also helps lead the viewers into the eyes of the animal. And with any portrait, the eyes are where you're gonna look because it's staring right at you. So it's whether pet portraits or animal portraits, it's a really important feature to spend a lot of time in. And you want to spend the most time on the face. The body of the animal, I'm actually not doing too much to past the block-in stage that we've already done. Another important thing with fur, especially really thick fur, is that a lot of your brush strokes should be kind of like back to forward. What that means is you want to layer the paint in a logical way that you would actually see the fur. So especially with the ears, you can see this. I kind of paint the inside of the ear first, and then I paint the layers over top of it. And it just kind of helps get a more realistic fur look when you kind of follow that natural order. Yeah, and adding some glint to the nose. And the camera actually stopped recording when I was doing the whiskers, but here's one of them. And that concludes our fox portrait. Thank you so much for watching and supporting my new budding YouTube channel. Thank you so much everybody who has participated in the polling to choose the different animals that are going to be a part of the 31-day challenge. And we're gonna see you around the internet really soon. If you wanna check out the rest of the videos in my 31-day challenge playlist, the link will be below. And we'll see you soon.